initiative. Um, the vision of real life mathematics is to raise response, responsible global citizens, and we do so using mathematics as a tool. Of course, you could see that we've gone continental. We have people from different continents of Africa. Mr. Nelson is from Kenya. Dr. Joy is also from Kenya. Blessing Cheweto is from Zambia. And also we have someone from Rwanda, Professor TJ Blaham is from Nigeria here. And if I wonder, all of our speakers, most of our speakers, Dr. Ceci Vanase is from Cameroon, is going to be talking to us today. And I know that Cameroonians are ready. Oh yeah. Mr. Mark Auta is from Nigeria. He's a cultural activist. Dr. Ngozi, she's a mama. When I saw her the first time, she is an old body in a young mind. I know she's laughing already. Very energetic. Oh yes, and also we have our able counselor of Mrs. Aya Charity. I want to say welcome to every one of us. I'm going to take it as we're going to have, these are panelists and they're wonderful people. So at this moment, we'll be taking from the first person and we're going to make it interactive. Please, wherever you are, you can make a contribution. The essence of this webinar is not just to pass knowledge, but we also want to make impact by also ensuring that homes, individuals, communities are healed. And also for us to also begin to re-engineer our thinking towards education and also towards the line of mathematics. We know that because real life math has a philosophy that every individual is a mathematician. Because every day of your life, we do one calculation or the other. But beyond that, we can also use that to do solve certain societal problems, like social problem, which is a rare area whereby math is thing to be less applied into. And this is where we have delved to ensure that individuals, benefit from this. And I want you to sit back, relax, and you will benefit a lot. So to our first panelist, she is a counselor, a really wonderful woman. I met her, and she has been encouraging to this vision. She's no other person than Mrs. Aya Charity. Please, you're welcome. Can you put on your camera, please, so that we can see you? Oh, yes. Thank you for the reaction.
Hello, good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me. So I'm going to leave my camera on, as you can see. I'm sure you're seeing my face already. I'm actually on transit, yes, you can see I'm in a car. I had to just park to take this call because I'm having a program. I'm having another program by 6 o'clock, and that's where I'm heading to.
Thank you for the sacrifice.
Yeah,
great,
so
great.
And because I'm using a phone device, I'm not using the system. It's a bit difficult for me. So I'm going to just leave my face because I want you to see me and see who is talking. But it's going to be more convenient for me when I switch off the camera so that it even affects the audio of my voice. So I'm going to switch off the camera. If you have seen my face, who they know, I'm a very fine girl, as you can see. So
she's not a girl, please. She's not a girl. Don't mind her.
Yeah, so
okay.
I'm going to take off my camera now before we start. Thank you very much for having me. It's such an honor to be part of this webinar. So, and as a counselor, I've had a lot of interaction with young people. So I'm going to be coming from the school perspective. As a counselor, I've had interaction where I help students a lot, especially adolescents, to navigate their growth. So my point is going to come from the school and what peace at home can do to the students in school. And
thank you so much.
It goes a long way also to affect both the students and the teachers. So that's what we are going to be discussing today. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. We are ready for you. It's okay that you off your camera. Yeah, excuse is right. Thank you. Now, please, this goes for you now. As a counselor, please, ma, in what way do conflict at home affect our children's focus, also their emotional stability, and as well as their overall learning performance in school? We are looking at solving these differences. How does this affect their learning in school? Please, can you help us based on your experience practically? Yes, Mrs. Aya.
Yeah, thank you so much once again. Peace, like you said, there is no way that a child comes to school with a burden in their mind and be able to perform academically. So we are going to be looking at how this conflict at home creates an atmosphere of tension for students. So when they come to school in the morning, children come to school, when they have such tension at home, it affects the way they behave even in school. Okay? A child who constantly hears arguments in the house, most especially at night, when the parents are arguing, they come to school early in the morning, they are exhausted, they are tired. And so they feel unsafe, both emotionally and otherwise. A child's mind is then divided into surviving, they are looking at how am I going to survive the chaos at home? And then they are also at the same time trying to be able to learn mathematics in the classroom. It is so difficult for them to match these two together because learning is an emotional thing. You cannot learn properly when you are emotionally disturbed. Okay? Like this program we are having now, even as adults, there is no way you can even concentrate here if you don't have peace at home. If you do not, when I left home, and I explained at home, I explained to my spouse that I'm going for a program, but this program is 6 o'clock. And then I have another program. I'm going to be speaking in a webinar. So I have to leave because if I stay here at home and wait till 5 o'clock, and finish the program, I might not be able to meet up the 6 o'clock. So I have that support. I must get that support. And then he said, use my car because it will help you faster. Now that stability will help me to speak now in confidence where I am now. So you can imagine if a child leaves home and does not get that support, this kind of support I'm talking about now, he comes to the school in the morning having problem to understand what the mathematics teacher is talking about, because mathematics in itself already is a problem, like we say. And then imagine a child having to face the emotional conflict at home and then having to learn mathematics. It's always a problem. And this child will also begin to show signs of anxiety. They become irritable. It's always anger. Okay, and any child that is in that space cannot learn properly. Some of them, you see them, showing low self-esteem because they don't feel comfortable. They see what is happening at home and it affects their mental health, and then they begin to have low self-esteem, which directly impacts their participation in school activities. So you see, they want to go for sports, he's not interested. They want to go for other forms of learning, he's not interested. Okay, and now over time, it begins to have academic decline. The grades begin to fall, not because the child is dull, not because the child does not have brains, okay, but because the ability emotionally, the emotional energy is consumed by the instability at home. So this is what we need to bear in mind, that a peaceful
All
home
right.
is the foundation of effective learning. We can't put that away. Thank you so
That's
much.
great. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. A peaceful home is the foundation for learning. Now, one more question for you, please, Mrs. Charity. Now, if the home is peaceful, please can you tell us, does it have an effect on the learning of children in school, and what positive effect does it have on learning and attitude of the child in the school as a counselor? When the home is peaceful, what positive changes can be noticeable, please?
Okay, this is just the direct opposite of what I just spoke about. Okay. When the home environment becomes a sanctuary of peace, the children will automatically flourish. It's a given. So a child that comes to school, maybe the parents will drop them in school and give them a wave, and they go to the classroom with that confidence that my father or my mother is behind me. They just flourish in class. They come to school well rested emotionally, and they are more focused. They are eager to learn because their mind is no longer preoccupied with fear. Because what that instability at home does is also increases fear in the child. So with the opposite, the child does not have fear, so they have confidence and they blossom. They also help us, this type of children that have stability at home. There's one advantage that everybody must know. Even in school, they become our anchor. As teachers, we use them, to help us to stabilize the other ones, because they work better. They help us in school to support other children who are having emotional problems, because they understand their peers better. So when we use them to talk to them, go and befriend this person. Go and tell this person what is your problem. Go and ask them, and then you can help us. So they give us good information about the children that are having issues, and then they are better teachers than us who are adults, because they understand them better. So when a child have stability and they have peace at home, the advantages are enormous. They are even in school, they become small teachers for us. Yeah, they are very enormous. They show kindness, okay, because that's what they see at home. They are full of empathy, and then they have better communication skills. Like I said, we use them, they model, and then we use them to help us to achieve the aim with other children, because they are the ones that are closer to them. Even get us report, because for instance, I work in a government school, okay? And then it is not, the major problem we have is population. It is not always easy for a counselor, most of the time 1 or 2 in a school of about 3,000, to be able to reach out to the children who have problems. So it is these ones who have stability. They are the ones that can help us navigate the school environment and bring us information about students who need help. So that is how far that peace can go in the school system.
Wow, wow, wow. Please, parents and audience, ensure that your home is peaceful. Thank you so much, Mrs. Charity. Now, this goes to you, Dr. Joy Muteji. Are you ready? Dr. Joy?
Yes, I'm ready, Joshua. Hello, you can hear me?
Oh,
yes,
thank you.
I'm ready.
Now, our audience wants to know, how does mass come into all of this that the counselor has spoken about? Because I didn't see any. So how does mass come into this in helping to navigate this? Thank you, Doc. Oh, you will have a presentation. Beautiful. Yeah, you can go ahead, Doc.
Yes. Okay, I hope you can hear me, Joshua.
Very well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Joshua has introduced me. My name is Dr. Joy Mutegi. I am a lecturer at Multimedia University of Kenya. So most welcome for this webinar. And Mrs. Aya has done a great job unpacking the importance of mathematics in creating peace back at home. Now, like I've been told, I will be repeating exactly what she has said, but now using mathematical language to unpack the same. Now, as we all know, mathematics is not just about numbers and formulas. It is also a way of thinking, a way of solving problems, a way of finding balance and creating harmony. So the same principles that our children learn in class can also be applied back at home to help us address conflict and also to support learning. Now, Mrs. Aya has discussed 3 pertinent issues. First, she discussed how conflicts at home can affect a child's focus. So I'll be talking about exactly the same, but now allow me to use mathematical language. Now, in mathematics, we solve equations. And when we solve these equations, an equation must balance on both sides. If one side happens to be heavier or incomplete, then definitely the whole solution fails. Likewise, when we have conflicts at home, then the equation of life for this child becomes unbalanced. Now, what does that do? Like we've been told, it now shifts attention from learning to worrying, thinking about what is happening back at home. Now, if I give an example, like for instance, if you think of the household chores, take that as a fraction. If one child does probably 3/4 of the work while the rest of the household only does a quarter, what does that mean? That creates resentment, it creates imbalance, just like a wrong fraction. But you notice that when we share house chores equally, then we restore harmony even at home. So just like we use math to restore balance, then us as parents also need to share responsibilities fairly, communicate openly, and also ensure that each person's voice counts at home to bring about harmony. Now, the other question that Mrs. Zaya addressed is how children express stress or insecurity when there is ongoing conflict back at home. Now, allow me to use statistics, which is mathematics. Now, in statistics, when we analyze data, we don't just look at data as one point. We study data as a trend. Now, the same case as parents. When a child drops in school in terms of grades, when you notice that a child who was there before very bubbly, all of a sudden goes silent, or a child who was very happy just starts bursting into anger, we are supposed to treat these as data points. So we are supposed to look at these and notice that there are signs that require investigation other than just blaming the child. And we need to ask ourselves mathematically, what is the hidden variable that is causing this result? Who knows? This child could be experiencing bullying at school, leading the child to probably show anger or withdraw back at home. The child could be feeling neglected emotionally. Probably the parents are too busy or have other issues that are making the child feel not recognized. The child could even be struggling academically. For most parents, when we see our children bring poor grades back at home, we assume that this child is lazy, which is not always the case. It could probably because this child has academic struggles, which as parents we need to look at and address so that we can help our children. So mathematically speaking, just like in algebra, we talk about X representing an unknown value. Those small hidden struggles that our children have back at home can also be treated as an X. And once we solve for the unknown X, then we find that we will be able to help these children solve problems instead of punishing them just because of the symptoms that they are showing. Now, the last issue that Mrs. Zaya has addressed is what happens when the home is peaceful and supportive. Again, allow me to draw lessons from mathematics. In geometry, we learn about symmetry. And we say that when a figure is symmetrical, it is actually very stable and looks very beautiful and very balanced. Likewise, a peaceful home creates the same kind of symmetry in a child's life. So they become confident, they become emotionally stable, and they're able to perform very well in school. We could also borrow from financial or investment mathematics. The more peace, the more encouragement, the more love we invest in our children, the more compound interest we reap in their growth, in their confidence, and in their academic success. So to conclude, we say that mathematics brings us order. It teaches us order, balance, analysis, prediction, etc. And we notice that these are not just school skills. We should also treat them as life skills. So if we apply the same principles back at home, then our families can turn conflict into harmony, insecurity into confidence, and distraction into academic success. And I think I've, within my very few minutes, tried to unpack what Mrs. Haya said from a mathematical concept. So allow me to stop there and thank you, all of you, for being part of this. And allow me leave you with my cherished motto, teaching minds and touching hearts. Thank you very much. And back to you, Joshua. Joshua, I'm done. Are you with us?
Likely has a network problem.
Okay. Blessing, probably you can take over as Joshua sorts his probably internet issue. You can invite the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Blessing.
Okay, so while we wait for the main anchor, thank you everyone for want to appreciate Mrs. Aya for your contribution, and also want to appreciate Dr. Joy for the mathematical perspective from which she has looked at things. So we'll move to our next panelist, who is Mr. Mark Alter. I hope you're online. Please, if you're online, can you please respond? Mr. Mark Alter, are you online, please? Mr. Mark Alter? Okay. Okay, let's go. While we are with Mr. Mark Alter, I will be moving on to, we shall be moving on to Dr. Ngozi. Are you online, madam? Can you please signify? Okay. All right, you are welcome. Our main anchor will be introducing you proper, but because of time, so that we do not waste unnecessary time, we welcome Dr. Ngozi to this very webinar.
Sorry, I was kicked out. I was kicked out by the network. Sorry, it was intentional. Thank you. Can we all hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Thank you, Prof.
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Ngozi. Mr. Joshua, we've taken the first speaker like before you went.
Fabulous.
So we're about to take Mr. Alter, Mark Alter, but he seems he's offline. So we've decided to take on Dr. Ngozi, the third panelist. Are you back, Mr. Joshua? Okay, once again, I want to welcome Dr. Ngozi. You are welcome. The
Hello,
first
everybody.
question.
Hello.
Hello, yes,
I'm
we
standing
can hear
on
you
the existing. Okay.
We can hear you loud and clear.
I'm standing on the existing
Please, Prof, you
protocol.
can go ahead. The next person should be Dr.
And
Ngozi.
I
Can
think
you
all of
help
you
me?
have.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Ngozi. We can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic.
We can hear you loud and clear. All right. So please,
All right.
your question for you.
Fantastic.
How can families use quiet reflection or shared rituals, meals, fellowship, prayer time to restore harmony? That is, in case there is disharmony in the home, which is affecting the life of children, affecting even the man and the woman in marriage, how can a family use quiet reflection and shared rituals? How can they use it to restore harmony? That's the first question.
Fantastic. A wonderful question. I'm going to turn off my video because it also affects the audio. But I think all of you have seen my face, and you see I'm not just pretty, I am beautiful. I'm God's child, so that's why. And just quick information about me. I am what they call a retired lecturer, but I am not tired. As a matter of fact, I just I drove in from a free medical outreach that I was doing in a community since this morning. and I barely made it back home just in time to get on this call. So you can see that, and it was a mathematical calculation to be able to be here on time. So, yes. So anyway, to deal with the question on hand, a lot of families have lost the art of spending time with their families. We think we have rituals, but we are not really implementing the rituals. Why do I say that? Mom and dad, one-on-one makes two. That's a mathematical formula. Mom and dad make two, and those two are gone most of the time. And so the children, in many cases, are left on their own, and they're left with a nanny or somebody else in the household who may not have the aptitude or the capacity to really imbibe the rituals or the traditions of the family. What are some of the traditions that we talk about? We talked about prayer. In some families, they don't even pray together anymore. And generally, when I was growing up, prayer time was also the time that you got instructions for the day of how your day was going to function. Another ritual that some families. Hello?
Sorry, please, Caroline, can you mute yourself? Caroline, kindly mute yourself. Sorry, Dr. Ngozi. You can go on, please.
No problem. No problem. Another ritual that some families have is having family meetings. Many of us grew up in that environment where there would be a family meeting maybe once a month or once a week, depending on how the family functioned. And everybody who lived in that household was mandated to be at that family meeting. You could not take an excuse. You had to be there because your voice had to be heard. And we don't do that anymore. Why do I say that? This little square thing that we carry in our hands called telephones have taken care of that. We can sit at the dining room table, supposedly having dinner together, but none of us are communicating with each other. We are on our handsets. When I grew up, you could not bring anything electronic to the dining room table. When you came to the dining room table, you came to eat. And the only thing that was metal on the dining room table were either the pots that the food was in or the knives and forks and spoons that you used to eat. Nothing else. To the point that even if the telephone rang, if you had a telephone, nobody answered it during dinner time because meal time was considered family time. So how do we bring all of that? We have to reintroduce that into these generations because the generation that we're in right now, they don't do that. They don't play board games. I don't know.
Thank you
I
very
learned
much.
how to play Monopoly.
Let me come in with the second question at this point, just to look it up. The second question goes thus: how do misunderstanding between generations challenge peace at home, and how can we bridge the gap? Please take that along with what you were saying. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so as I was saying, most of that also included our generational, many of us had our grandparents living with us, or we lived with uncles and aunties who were older. And so you had the children. Well, the children understood that every adult in the household had a say-so in their lives. Now we don't have that. Now you have grandparents living with families and children, and they can't say anything to the children. And if they do, they'll say, Grandma, that's not what Mom said. Or Grandpa, no, you cannot do that. And then the parents, instead of saying to the children, hold on, because Grandpa and Grandma are older than us. So if Grandma and Grandpa say such and such, then yeah, you need to listen. They now go and say to Grandpa and Grandma, you know, these children of today, you can't always say something like that to them. So it's not when you were training us. It's not when we were growing up. So mommy, daddy, please, so we can have peace in the family, because these children will just scatter everywhere. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. Okay, the generational gap, we can close the generational gap if we could include everybody in those family traditions that we just talked about and that we just mentioned. So I hope that gives a little answer to the question.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The next question, Dr. Ngozi, is how does gratitude, that is value and perspective, shift the atmosphere in a home? How does gratitude, value, and perspective shift the atmosphere in a home?
Well, first of all, gratitude is something that should be taught to children from the age of 3 months. And I know somebody's going to say to me, how is that possible? Well, guess what? Children at the age of 3 months can hear your voice. So if you're constantly saying praising words and saying thank you and please and singing those kinds of rhymes that have to do with gratitude, that baby will grow up listening and hearing that music. It reduces tension in the household when you have gratitude in your environment. It boosts up resilience. Okay, people become very resilient to their situation. It encourages positive language. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, there were 5 rules. Please, thank you, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, and excuse me. Those were the things that you learned, and you better use them, because somebody was around to hear whether you said please and thank you, or whether you said excuse me. Nowadays, children will knock you over and look at you like, why are you in my way? Move out of my way. Nobody says I'm sorry. Nobody, and if they say I'm sorry, they don't really mean it. They just say to shut you up. I know it's a tragic situation that we're in. It promotes active listening. Okay, we have to actively listen to people when there is gratitude in the atmosphere. It's sense of belonging. Okay, it makes you be part of something that is great. It creates a ritual connection. You have this connection with everybody else because everybody else understands what please and thank you means. What I beg your pardon and I am so sorry. I promise not to do that again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ngozi. Just in line with this, I want you to take on this. Just like you have made submission, the attitudes of some children can definitely could be as a result of the influence of the media. So here comes the first question. Perceived media behavior that disturb peace at home and society that individuals must desist from in spite of age. What do you think they are? Just like in line with what your earlier submission. That is, what are the perceived media behavior that you think disturb peace at home and in society that individuals, parents?
Yeah, we say it's perceived, but it actually shows up in a lot of the behavior that we see happening right now. Things like we spend so much of our time on media because we spend a lot of time on the negative aspects of media. If you start looking at violent stuff in the media, it's going to sink into your system at some point. I mean, that's a mathematical formula, whether you want to agree or not. You see graphic things that children should not even be watching. And then you wonder why their minds are switched into the next dimension. Media does have an influence. It spreads misinformation, for one thing. It engages on hostility, and it trends on very bad behavior. And not only does it trend on that very bad behavior, but it gives it license to possibly happen again. And so for all of us who look in the world that we're in today, The mathematical formula that was created before we were even created says that good and good is always going to give you good. When you have bad and bad, which is minus 1 plus minus 1, it's always going to give you a bad result. So that's the mathematical formula you can use for life. Life is a positive environment. You keep the environment positive, you're going to get positive results. When you infuse violence and tragedy and all those kinds of things into the environment, it changes the outcome of the formula. And so we need to pay attention to that and cut down on the overuse of media as much as possible. We need to invade our children's privacy. Don't be one of those parents that said, oh, well, my child's door is closed, so I cannot go into their bedroom. Are you kidding? Who pays the rent or who bought the house? You better be able to go into any door in your house that you want to go into, and you don't have to take permission. Now, if they don't want you to be in their door, then they need to move out and have their own place so they can lock it. But as long as they're in your house, they need to provide that. You need to be able to figure out what they're doing. And don't be glorifying bad lifestyle. Don't glorify it. If a child shows up with a lot of money in their hands, you need to ask questions. Where did that come from? And you need to find out. And if not, wherever it came from, they need to go back and return it. So, as a conclusion, it is up to us parents to really look into what's going on with children. And the mathematical formula of all of that is that when we have positive plus positive, we always get positive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ngozi. Please, let's appreciate Dr. Ngozi with reactions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
While you were speaking, you introduced some mathematical concepts and notions. You refer to them. I would just like to add a few more. One of the things you mentioned when you started was the fact that in most families today, spending time together is missing. Time.
Yes.
Time is a scalar factor. In fact, when talking about functions, most of the functions, real life functions we talk about in life, they are often in terms of time. I mean,
yes.
F of X of T, time. So you can imagine someone building a model. I have a professor of mathematics online, Professor S.S. Oya of Obafemi University. He's an applied mathematician. I saw him online. I want to believe Prof is still online. He can say very much about this. Can you imagine building a model and you are exempting time? Time is missing. I mean, such a model
cannot hold up. Cannot hold up. It
can never bring anything positive. So that's it. So mathematically, that was a very important point that you raised. Then you talked about family meeting, families meeting together, eating together at the table, during which there's communication. In the world of algebra, there is what we call multiplication table, where all the elements of a set come to play. For example, you are in the set of integers modulo 3, for instance. So you are considering numbers like 0, 1, and 2. So on the table, you add them to each other, which means they have to come to the table. Each element exhibits itself, and you see the properties. So again, we see mathematics coming to fore in this respect. Another very cogent point you mentioned is our African culture, whereby we of this generation learn from those of the old generation. The roles of grandparents, uncles, and aunts seems to be missing now in our various societies. And this is a pointer to what we call a structural arrangement in mathematics. A very important one is what we call lattices, whereby structures and substructures are arranged in order. So there is a natural lattice in human life. So, but when this is missing, a lot of confusion comes in. That was another very wonderful point that you raised. Then while you were talking about gratitude, you mentioned something that you expect parents to begin to teach their children gratitude right from the age of 3 months. Then this took me back to when we are talking about the three-dimensional space. You know, our natural world is a three-dimensional space.
Yes.
You have the one-dimensional, you have the two-dimensional. Now, for the two-dimensional, for instance, in algebra, you talk of equation involving two variables, x and y. But actually, if you really want to have a good feel of reality, because when you talk of x and y, you are just talking about lines. But when you begin to talk about three-dimensional space, we are talking about planes, which you see a lot of real-life experiences. And when you look at most of the programs that little children watch online, such as cartoons, they are often in form of two-dimensional drawings. Children get excited when they see drawings in two-dimensional space. But the reality of life is actually in a three-dimension, which means parents must begin to prepare the mind of their children for the three-dimensional realm of life. Then finally, you talked about this ideology, strange ideology, which has come into Africa now, which is beginning to influence the lives of most children negatively through the media. This ideology of privacy, children clamoring for privacy. So it's like having a function, like you said it, that how can you say you are living in my home and you say I can't check on you? I mean, y equals to f of x. There we call x the independent variable. We call y the independent variable. So which means y is equal to f of x. As a parent, I have the responsibility to be able to express that x as g of y, as in the function f must be invertible. I must be able to move from f to g. So parents must be able to check on their children and know what they are doing. No child has the right to say, my dad or mom, you have no right to look into my school bag or things like that. Thank you so much. I so much enjoyed your submission. Please let us appreciate Dr.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. George, are you back? Are you back online? Okay. Sorry, Mr. Joshua. Okay, why we wait for Mr. Okay, Mr. Joshua, are you back?
My network is not stable, please.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
It's fluctuating sometimes because of this.
No problem.
Thank you.
Mr. MacAlta, are you now online? Mr. MacAlta, I think I saw him. He came online while Dr. Ngozi was speaking. Mr. MacAlta, are you now online? Okay, if it's not yet online, then we have to move to the next panelist, who is Ambassador Vanessa. Ambassador Vanessa. I think
hello,
I saw. All right.
Yes, I'm right here. Hello, everyone.
All right. Good evening, madam. You are welcome. Please, let's appreciate her.
Thank you so very much. Let me see if the video will work and if the lighting is okay. I don't think you can see me, right? But you can hear the sound.
We are here to see. We can see your picture. So we are here to see.
But it looks like I'm trying to connect, but I think maybe where I linked up to might be the problem. But anyway, hopefully next time you'll be able to see me. All right. The pleasure is all mine to be with all of you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Joshua and all stakeholders. First of all, I want to confess I'm not a mathematician, so I am not going to use mathematical terms. Please.
No problem. No problem.
Anyway, my background is in ministry. I'm an ordained minister of the gospel, and I'm also a consultant and an educationist as well. All our speakers have dealt with the subject relating in one way or the other to children. My bit has to do with the parents, we ourselves. The onus is on us, the parents, as fathers, mothers, the impact we have on each other, like one of the speakers said, affects the children. So for my question, number one says that I'm to deal with the common tension in most homes. That is, what are the most common causes of tension in modern homes, and what can be done to mitigate them? Now, we always say that opposite attracts, right? The extrovert will attract the introvert, etc. I want to handle this from temperaments, first of all, because as much as we are to celebrate where we are similar as man and wife, we also have to celebrate where we are different. We need to agree to disagree and embrace each other where we are different. In our African setting, and in most times, and in this present day, unfortunately, when man and wife are married, husband and wife are married at home, after a few years, when familiarity sets in, not even a year, by a month, familiarity sets in, you start asking yourself, is this the person I married? Because as usual, in the courting stage, there is that pretending. Let's use that in quote. Everyone wants to consciously or unconsciously hide who they really are. Now, when you start living together in the same space for a time, unconsciously, you go back to default setting and your true nature will start coming out. And one of the areas that causes the tension is where you are different. When we speak of differences, nature, differences in thinking, differences in accepting, differences in personality, every aspect will come into play. And this is where the tension starts. One party is refusing to accept the other person's differences. You want to change your partner. You want to control your partner. And that is where that issue starts coming from. You should know that what is in me that is not in you is what actually unconsciously attracted the two together. You are the completer of each other's uncompleteness. Let me repeat it again. You are the completer of each other's uncompleteness. So you consciously and unconsciously came together to fuse together. When you are pretended for so long and you now get together as man and wife, the rubber will hit the road and your differences would come out. So personality differences start showing, and you can only deal with it by, first of all, recognizing, tolerating, celebrating, and accepting who you are. You should adapt to your partner. You should accept your partner. You should be an amiable person towards your partner, and you should be appreciative. The 4 A's. Any questions? Or I should continue?
Yes. The next question. This has to do with the children. Well, I know you. How do unresolved childhood issues manifest in adult relationships? And how can the family resolve this?
Actually, as a parent, even though it's for childhood and all of this has to do with the child, like I said, these issues also have to do with both parents and children. The trauma starts from the childhood. Any child that grew up from a divorced environment where the parents even are together and they are always shouting, there are some ways of expressing nature. So this is my character. This is how I was born. This is how I was behaved. You don't know how to talk to your spouse. You are speaking quietly to your spouse, but it's like you are fighting. Now, this affects the child. Now, you as a adult, you grew up in an environment where nobody acknowledges their wrong. You grew up in an environment where there was abuse in every sort of way, sexual abuse in the way of abusing the abuse in that sense of the way. And that person grows up manifesting that unconscious innate attitude. You have to recognize, you see, when two people are together, that is why even in courtship, you are supposed to speak. You need to know each other's family background. You need to know how each other grew up. What was the environment they grew up in? Because generations will always be generation. We'll have generational pattern. You will always portray your grandfather or grandmother's temperament or nature. Your attitudes the attitudes you heed will surely show out. So you need to know that parents and grandparents and children, like one of our Dr. Ngozi said, you need to create that atmosphere where you can sit down, talk about things authentically, amiably, and prayerfully as well, because nothing beats the power of prayer. So as long as you are always a family that prays together, you will never fall prey to any situation, because whether we like it or not, we have innate seed of emotional trauma that is in our character, in our family, which our parents Africanly, from the African point of view, no one wants to speak about it. But then you have to open up for them to speak about it. A girl was
Can I come in here, madam? Can you please address this at this point? What role does emotional intelligence play in handling family differences?
Emotional intelligence is the ability to control your own emotions and the emotion of the person around you. So when we speak of emotional intelligence, I always want to use the word when intelligence goes to the house, when intelligence goes home. The two, it also starts from the place of knowing each other's differences, knowing how your partner expresses anger, boredom, unhappiness, fear. Know how each person, because your partner, your husband or your wife, their genes is transmitted to the children. I always say this: a teenage girl is the replica of her mother at that age. A teenage boy is the replica of the father at that age. So every anticipation of the kind of character you were from as a teenager, you expect your child to do it, and you start speaking negatively on your child. And at the end of the day, you see your child manifesting the very thing you said about the child. So emotional intelligence is knowing yourself first. What are your emotions? When do you go overboard? Are you quick-tempered? Are you moody? Are you intolerant? When you can know that this is who you have to know who you are first of all. Emotional intelligence is not always towards the other person. It starts with you personally. Look at the person in the mirror. Deal with your emotions prayerfully. Speak. Go for counseling. Go for counseling. Accept to be counseled. If you don't go for counseling, it will not help. So emotional intelligence is not something that is once in a lifetime. It's a continuous discovery to recover the nature, the ingredients that mold your family, the emotions that destroy, quick-tempered bitterness. People have harbored bitterness to the extent that they are so bitter, and embittered that they are bitter towards life, and this is already crippling into the family. Unforgiveness.
At this point, madam, sorry, please. In what ways can families subtract toxic? Because you've just spoken about character, habits, and things that can hinder the growth of the family. So, in what ways can families get rid of or subtract, in the language of toxic habits?
First of all,
healing practices.
To subtract is to first of all divide. First of all, divide into, not divide to conquer, but divide to discover. First of all, find out who is this person emitting the toxic behavior, and what is the cause of that toxic behavior. When you know where you are coming from, when you discover the root of the situation, you'll be able to deal with it, and you'll be able to, over time, we should understand that when it comes to toxic habit, it's a habit that is in the genes, built over time. So you need to be prayerful, you need to be patient, and you need to be willing to work on yourself and work together as a team. If it's your children, understand your children are manifesting that toxic behavior either from the media, either from what the friends they associate themselves with, either from you yourself. So ask yourself this behavior. That's why parents, we need to be busy with our children. We need to know our children more than the teacher at school. It is true. Based on our education sector, the children spend more time with the teachers. But let those 2 days in the week that they spend at home, you use it to really notice your children. Parents should know their children, because when you are able to notice your child quickly, you can be able to discover that quick-temperedness, that bitterness, that unforgiveness, and you will be able to pray about it. First of all, seek counseling and talk to your children. And
wonderful, madam. Again, at this point, please permit me. Yes, permit me. How can parents teach their children? Or how can counselors teach parents to recognize patterns of conflict and break the cycle?
As a counselor, first of all, you need to find out from the parents. You should make time with the parents to find out the root of the problem first. Not always dealing with the surface. It's discovering the root of the problem. Now, when you now find out the root, this is where the problem is coming from, then you take time to work using certain counseling principles. We need to understand that as a counselor, you don't throw suggestions down the throat of the parents. You need to bring the parents from the known to the unknown, and you bring them right back when they find out why in the first place we are behaving like this. Parental scenarios or parental challenges, if I can say, counseling comes from a long, how to say, it's ingrained. Each of the habits, each of the toxic situation, the bitterness, the unforgiveness, the anger, these are hardcore scenarios that don't go away in a month. You need to be patient as a counselor to work with that family to gradually deal with these vices, if we can use it. So it's not just looking at a 3-week or say, okay, come for counseling. You need to be willing to make the parents or the party concerned to even want to go for counseling in the first, because they are in a Christian setting. A lot of Christian homes feel they don't need counseling. They feel that we were counseled before we got married. I always say that counseling, you need pre-marital counseling, you need post-marital counseling, and you need family counseling at all. In fact, you have to be counseled every step of the way, because the counselor guides you, the counselor instructs you, and the counselor prays with you, not pray on you. You understand?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador Vanessa. Please, let's appreciate her with our reactions. Let's appreciate her. Very wonderful points. So many points, very wonderful points you have made. I will just try to paint them a bit in mathematical manner. You made us realize that marital relationship, which has to do with the male and the female strictly, is a sort of opposite, a positive and a negative, which attracts, and familiarity in marriage seems to affect relationship. That's a very strong one. Familiarity in marriage seems to affect relationship, which means, in the language of mathematics, for there to be continuity in a marital relationship, the two people who are involved must always remove the points of discontinuity. When you are plotting a graph and you have what we call jumps, by jumps we mean points where you cannot find the image. The image is not real. There's going to be problem with that graph. You won't be able to complete the graph. It will be skipping. There will be jumps. But if those points of discontinuity can be removed, then you are going to have a continuous marital relationship. That was a wonderful one. Then you made us to understand that as a couple, the man and the woman must recognize the fact that they may have differences in their nature. They may have differences in their nature, but they must learn to manage these differences. Then you said something very emphatic. You said couples must learn to complete each other's. In fact, you said you are the completer as a husband or wife. You are the completer of each other's incompleteness. In fact, mathematically, you can express that one as, if your universal set is U, then A union A complement equals to the universal set. So which means the man must be careful not to think he is all in all, not to turn himself into the universal set, but must understand that as an A, as an H husband, he has an F, which is H complement that will complement his effort. And it should be completeness and not competition. Completeness and not competition. When you have the derivative of a function and you what we usually write in form of terminology as dy dx equals to f of x, and you intend to find y, you have to integrate f of x. But there is something that usually happens. The moment you integrate f of x, you must add what we call the constant of integration. So the two of them must recognize the fact that there is a constant of integration. So in taking a decision as a man, you must always remember that your wife must be put into consideration. Then finally, you talked about the emotional intelligence, that as a couple, the couple must be able to manage their emotional intelligence towards each other. And when you describe the procedure, you said we first of all divide to discover what the challenges are, and then you subtract to remove the problem. Then that makes me remember our BODMAS, bracket of division. Interestingly, division is the first one before multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So you can see, even though Madam Vanessa is not a mathematician, might not be a mathematician by profession, but you were thinking mathematically. What you said was very much in line with mathematics. Please let us appreciate Madam Vanessa once again. Thank you so much. We go to our last speaker, the fourth person, who is Mr. He was supposed to be, originally he was supposed to be the first speaker. I hope he's back online. He's now back online. He was supposed to be the second speaker, Mr. Mark Halter. Are you online? He seems to have been struggling with his internet. Mr. Mark Halter, I'm not too sure he's online. Okay, because of time, we will now go to the question and answer session. I know some questions have been dropping already. Dr. George, can you please help us to take the questions so that we know whichever panelist is supposed to respond to them?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you to our speakers. That was truly insightful. It was very, very educative. We really appreciate. So at this point, let's go to the question and answer. I believe there must be a few questions arising from the discussions that we have had. And allow me to read one that has already been posted in our chat by Timothy Sunday. And he says, a partner that doesn't want his or her weaknesses discussed each time you wish to help or make suggestions to him or her, how else can this partner be assisted? She has, it's a he has sent that to Dr. Ngozi, but says any other person may respond. Dr. Ngozi, kindly, I hope you got the question, and any other person could also chip in after Dr. Ngozi.
Yeah, the question, let's see. It says a partner that doesn't want his or her weakness discussed each time. Well, first of all, if we go back to what Pastor Vanessa said about counseling, the very first pre-counseling sessions, you will know whether or not you're going to have issues with partners and their weaknesses. A lot of us humans, we forget and don't want to accept that we have weaknesses, but we are all flawed. We all have weaknesses. What we need to learn to do is learn how to deal with those weaknesses and to control when those weaknesses come out. And if somebody keeps pointing out to you that there's a weakness that you have, then you as should be an intelligent person to say, okay, all right, maybe I need to look into this. Maybe I need to go for counseling. The problem with Africans is that we already have this negative attitude towards counseling. And because we have that negative attitude towards counseling, we do not get the help and assistance that we need to make our family environment a happy one. So first things first, if you have that partner, you should have noticed it at pre-counseling. And if you didn't notice it at pre-counseling and it showed up at family counseling, then if you had gone for family counseling, it would also show up there. So the problem is we as adults need to take responsibility. So I hope that helped to answer the question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ngozi. I hope Timothy has had the response, and I hope it is good enough. Madam Vanessa, would you have something to add to that, please?
Okay, like I said, thank you once again. Like Dr. Ngozi rightfully said, we need to look at it from a pre-counseling. Then also, like I was reiterating, in the family while you're going on in the journey of your marriage, because we have generational changes, we all grow. The person you met and knew at the age of 20 is not the same person at the age of 30. It's not the same person at the age of 40. It's not the same person at the age of 50. And you know, when you get to 50, the rhythm starts. 60, hallelujah. 70, praise the Lord. So you see, we all have to be willing to, that's why in praying, first of all, when you're praying for your partner, you need to pray for a partner that will accept themselves. First of all, nothing beats prayer. I keep reiterating that. Secondly, how do you point your partner's weakness to him or her? Are you pointing their weakness from the place of anger or spite, or you're trying to be a mother or a father to them? Because it also has to do with how you point their weaknesses to them. And secondly, what do you think is a weakness? Is it really a weakness? That is something we need to ask ourselves. What you are looking at at your partner, that is their weakness, are you really sure that is really a weakness? Or you're just that kind of human being that always wants to find fault in somebody? I'm looking at it from all sides of the coin. So whether it is an anticipated weakness, whether it's a perceived weakness, whether it's an actual weakness, if you are discussing with the person in love and in humility, and the person refuses because they are chronically proud, then you need to call in a counselor or somebody they respect to handle the situation, and also add the spice of prayer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Vanessa. That is very, very well said. We appreciate your responses. I open the floor to any other person who could have another query. Kindly, you can raise your hand, or you can unmute and ask your question, or you can even put it on the chat box. Any question, please? As we wait for the questions to be typed, probably if there are any, we are reminded that our social handle. Sorry, I think someone has unmuted and there's a bit of echo. Misiri, you kindly unmute. Kindly mute so that the echo can reduce.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening to you. Or you have a question, please go ahead.
What I want to chip in, ma, is that a situation where, you know, we are human beings, we can only observe the physicality of the nature, but what is going on spiritually is hidden to us. Now, the one that is exposed to us and vis-a-vis to us, that is a situation we can contribute. But the one that is invisible, such as if the partner cannot really show his or her interest, or give us the foundation of the problem, trying to hide this and that. But in the long run, how can we get to contribute or to make a thing complete? And why others is uncompleteness, according to the statement. So how can we manage that situation if the foundation is not exposed to us, ma? Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Awesto.
Yes, ma.
Do you have a response to Awesto's question? Dr. Ngozi? Madam Vanessa, maybe you can take
Can you
it.
please mute? Mr. Bikini, can you please mute? Where the echo is coming from.
Hello.
Okay. I said, can you please mute your mic? Mute your mic.
Pardon?
Can you please mute your mic?
I'm using it now.
Mute your mic.
Mr. West, you can mute so that you're able to get the response.
Yes, ma'am.
We are requesting that you mute your mic so that we can hear, we can communicate. There's a lot of echo because of your mic is on.
Okay, it's on.
Yes, we are saying that you mute, mute so that we can get a response. Mute your mic.
Is it possible he can take a friend where
Turn off your mic. Turn off your mic.
Turn off your mic.
The microphone.
Your microphone. You are the admin. Can you please mute it?
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, nice,
Wonderful.
nice. Dr. Ngozi, kindly take it up. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if I understood his question, I think he was asking, what do you do if you still have an issue with the partner? I was having problems hearing him, so I'm not sure that I got his question very clear. If somebody can clarify it a little better.
Mr. Aweso, if you can hear us, could you kindly repeat your question?
No, I didn't quite hear his question. That's why I said
okay.
I was having.
Okay, I think what he said was a situation whereby in a marital relationship, the challenge seems to be spiritual, okay?
Okay.
Not physical, spiritual. So, and you don't know the origin of the source, okay, of it. It's not physical. Probably you taking unnecessary stress physically, psychologically. You couldn't solve the problem, but it seems to be spiritual, but you don't know the source. So he's asking, how do you, I hope I got him right, how do you address that? Such.
First of all, how do we know it's spiritual? Who determines that the situation is spiritual? And I know in our African culture, if it's something that we can't explain, we then say it's spiritual. But who does make that determination? And when you say spiritual, what are you talking about? Are you talking about diabolic spiritual, or are you talking about spiritual in the sense that the person might have a mental issue or mental illness? What level of spirituality are you actually focusing on? And so whichever one it is, you're going to need additional or outside help to mitigate the situation, to make sure that what you think it is really what you think it is. And so a lot of times we throw out those phrases because it solves whatever internal issues that we're dealing with, as opposed to solving what the actual issue is. So I don't know if anybody else can add more to that, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ngozi. Madam Vanessa, any
okay
to that?
Yeah, like Madam Dr. Ngozi rightly said, first of all, a lot of, excuse me to use the word, Christianity doesn't mean stupidity. All right, sorry, it might be a harsh word, but the fact that you're a Christian doesn't mean you should not use your senses. Excuse me to use that word if it's too harsh, because we tend to a situation where you need to rest, you don't sleep when you're supposed to sleep. You become very irritatable in the morning. It doesn't mean that the demon of anger is disturbing you. whereas an environment that you keep dirty, when your surrounding is dirty, you are not clean, you don't respect your elders, you don't keep to time. So in a nutshell, before you throw anything and say it is spiritual, investigate what is causing the manifestation of what you are seeing, because any manifestation comes from the mental, comes from the spiritual, comes from the physical. So when you know the root cause of whatever it is manifesting, I use the word, when you discover, you can recover. You can find out exactly how to deal with it. Now, if it is spiritual, the two people concerned, you must build your home on prayer. I believe Dr. Ngozi reiterated that 100 or 1,000 times. A family praying together. When you pray together, you will discover exactly what needs to be discovered. When the two of you pray and you study your Bible together, you both are a high priest in your home. You will pray till you see the answer to the question. You have to pray until something happens. If it takes 10 years, you pray. If it takes 20 years, you pray. No matter how long it takes, you keep praying and you keep prepare. In fact, in nutshell, you prepare for what you are praying for. You cannot erase the effect of the spiritual, it's true, but you should not also put everything on the spiritual. So yes, if you've discovered that situation, maybe it's a generational pattern, maybe it's a generational character, whatever, maybe it's a generational curse, you go for prayers, and you as a family, you pray concerning it. Because when you as a family, you don't have a solid, strong need as a prayer, you start going to the pastors and you also give the pastors hard time. I hope you understand. Let's not turn this into a prayer section or a prayer camp. But before, I just want to say that when you are facing a spiritual situation and you really, really know it's a spiritual situation, get spiritual guidance. If you discover it's a mental situation, get counseling. No matter what, when you are in a day and age where there are trained counselors that can help you, seek help, then stop hurting yourself. That's what I can say, please.
And if I can just add to that, yes, as you said, Pastor Vanessa, seek help, but also be ready to listen.
Thank you.
Our problem is that we do not listen.
Thank
God
you.
will be talking to us and we will want to do something different.
Thank you.
And like you said, we don't want to make this a church function, but whether we're whatever format of prayer that we are doing, the other side to it is that you've got to listen. You have to listen. And you have to be willing to make whatever changes need to be made. And some of it is, when you call it spiritual, it's a childhood trauma that was never addressed. And if the childhood trauma was never addressed, guess what? It's going to magnify and multiply. Talking about math, it is going to multiply as an adult. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
To add a little spice to what you say, that's why it said that when two people meet together and they know they are courting their boyfriend, girlfriend, if we can use that word, they should be open. They should be when they know that they are building a relationship towards marriage, they should start being overt about their own individual upbringing. We always used to say that the past is in the past. This is not what we are talking about. How did you grow up? What environment did you grow up in? How did your father express himself? How did your mother? Investigate the family tree. It will take time, but the earlier you start investigating each other's family tree, the better you're able to notice likable challenges, likable situations, and you start dealing with them. If it's something that cannot be worked up, you need to have an amicable breakup. That it is better to have a relationship, it's better to break your relationship amicably than to get into marriage and you are stuck in an unhappy marriage because you are in a marriage you cannot divorce for all kinds of reasons, and the two of you are killing each other in the marriage. I'm passionate about this because in Christianity, we seem to cover a lot of situations, and that can be solved or should have been solved a long time ago if the two people had sat down and talked and realized that, hey, Joe, where we are going, our nature, our character, our home, we cannot be together. Be friends rather than be enemies in marriage. So anyway, we pray that anyone who has that kind of challenge in their homes will start having the courage to listen to our voice and seek the help that they need in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you so much for those very, very great responses.
Thank you, ma. I'm grateful, ma.
The responses
The webinar is full with intellectuals. Thank you very much. I gain a lot.
Yes.
I really gain a lot. Thank you very much.
I hope you are happy with the response.
It's full with very funny intellectuals that have humor.
Sure, and we really appreciate it. So Prof, I think we are 30 minutes into our time, so allow us to stop the question and answer there. But in case there are more questions, we can continue sharing in our socials, through our YouTube, through the Facebook. Our website is also up and running. So allow me to give it back to you so that you can probably tell us about our upcoming events and probably drum for support, and then you can close for us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I want to appreciate everyone, all our panelists. I want to believe there is a slide which should have been shared while Madam Vanessa was speaking. Mr. Joshua just sent it to me, so I just decided just to project it. I don't know, probably in 2 minutes, Madam Vanessa wants to say something about it, so that.
All right, this is just to explain the. I love to use this to explain personality in an individual. It's very down to earth, simple. Now, the stable side, which is the sanguine and the phlegmatic, means what you see is what you get. It doesn't mean that there is something wrong when you're unstable. With the choleric and the melancholic, in the aspect of unstable, is that with the choleric, they may not seem to be forgiving. That is why you need to work on your nature if you find yourself as a choleric. You can go to www. Let me write that in our chat, where you can use to find out about your personality and your profession at the same time, so that as human beings or as spouses, we can find our personality, and then we can know our differences, so we can be able to complement each other's uncompleteness or incompleteness. So we have the extroverts, those are the outward. The extroverts are those who feel. The introverts are those who think. The phlegmatic and the melancholic. We have the statement that opposites attract. Maybe some other time we can take time to really explain the differences in this. But when you get to know who you are married to, when you get to know the family dynamics, where you have your extroverts and your introverts, you'll be able to know where the anger is coming from. You'll be able to know where someone seems to be a talkative. You'll be able to know why someone you're speaking to them about your joyful project you have won, and the melancholic wife or husband is talking about, have you paid the school fees, or seemingly asking you what they see is important, whereby you are trying to just generate conversation, and the sanguine seems to be unserious about life, when blue black together and saying they are attractive. It's just to know the different personality and how to embrace each other's differences and work and accept each other. The question is, can it change? It can improve. Personality is in the genes, so it's transferable either from your immediate parent or from your grandparents. So when you start noticing changes, when you know each other's temperaments, you can also be able to deduce the temperaments of your grandparents. I wanted to just wrap up quickly. I finished though. I finished, please.
Thank you very much,
yes.
Vanessa. Thank you very, very much for that.
Okay, all right.
You, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. George. So we take some announcements. Sorry, our convener is really having serious network challenges, but we work as a team. So we have the following announcements. Our next program is going to be on the 1st of October. That's the Nigerian Independence Day celebration webinar. We'll be having a webinar. I want to believe that all of us who want to make it. Okay. I'll be taking place by 5 p.m. You will see our announcement via our WhatsApp group. Please, if you are yet to join our WhatsApp group, kindly join it. The link is there. It's in the advert. I don't know if Mr. George can place it in the comment section so that those who do not have it can join, so you can always follow our program. The theme for this year's webinar in celebration of the Nigerian independence is education, leadership, and the Nigerian dream. The Nigerian dream has been for so many decades and is yet to really come to fulfillment. We need education and good leadership to achieve it. How can this be done? We shall be looking at this critically. We'll be having an on-site event in November. A 16-day activism against gender bias. Okay. We'll be sharing customized books, so we hope to get support for this. Please, if you have interest in this, in supporting us in any way, kindly contact the convener, Mr. Joshua. He will give us the details. We now have a website of our own. You can always, please, Mr. Joshua, if you can share that in the comment section. It's in our WhatsApp group. Always visit our website.
Yeah, it's already okay.
All right, it's already.
Thank you, Prof. I think I've shared. It's already on the comment section. I've already shared it on the in-call message. Yes. Okay. You see our social handles is there. The website, the Facebook, the YouTube.
All right.
They're all there on the. Thank you, Prof.
All right. Okay.
I've not seen the WhatsApp group.
The link for the WhatsApp. Can you please share it?
Yeah, there's no link for the WhatsApp.
Mr. Joshua, can you share the link for the WhatsApp group?
Okay, let me get it done.
Oh, you don't want us to join?
You are welcome. Kindly join, please. Please, we want you to know that real life mathematics is not only a gathering of mathematicians. No.
Okay.
It's a gathering of enthusiasts.
All right.
Myself, I'm a professor of mathematics at the Obafemi University. I'm currently occupying a chair at the University of Lagos, the pastoral professorial chair. But we have come to discover that, humanly speaking, everyone is a mathematician.
Yes.
Many of us use mathematics we don't know. You can imagine what Madam Vanessa said. She was speaking board mass. So we have come to discover that a lot of us, we use mathematics, but we are not conscious of the fact that we are using mathematics. So the purpose of this particular gathering, the real life mathematics especially, is for us to explore a lot of elementary things that we have learned in our primary and junior secondary school days, which can better our lives in the current stage in which we are. And so everyone, educationists, counselors, we are all welcome to this particular. Please do not be intimidated in any manner. Not everybody here is a professor of mathematics. Please don't feel intimidated. In fact, we need you. We mathematicians, we usually look for you people in the sociology, in the non-sciences, because you understand what is going on in humanity. Our people in sociology, humanity, you know what is going on. Many of these things, those of us in science don't know them. So we need to hear from you. It's when we hear from you that we are able to identify the areas of mathematics that can probably be of application. So please don't be intimidated at any level. Even if students, parents, they are all welcome. We've come to discover that with mathematics, parents can even help their children. Many of the things that students do in their assignments can be used by parents to actually teach them. They can learn lessons from them. Couples can learn, use mathematics to learn, to better their relationship, to better their family, and all the likes. Thank you so much. So I would like to appreciate on behalf of the convener of the real life mathematics We would like to appreciate all our panelists. The only panelist that was not able to speak to us was Mr. MacArthur. I guess he had network challenges. Madam Aya, I know she has gone offline because she says she had to be somewhere by 6 p.m. Dr. Ngozi Nkeje, please let's appreciate her. Ambassador Vanessa Sesi, please let's appreciate her too. We have really enjoyed your discussions, and please appreciate yourself too for being online for this program. Please appreciate yourself too. I also want to appreciate some academics that are online. I get Professor Sesokoya is already offline. So please, you are all recognized. You are all recognized. Let's appreciate ourselves. Thank you so much. I don't know whether we have a final word from our convener, though we know you are having network challenges, but I think you can still see one or two things. We can still hear you. Mr. Joshua.
All right, thank you, Prof. Honestly, I want to say thank you. I also want to say thank you to all our listeners this evening. I appreciate every one of you. Just like Prof have said, this is for everyone because our philosophy is that every human is a mathematician, and going forward, there is a whole lot of things that we are going to do together because the vision is broad, but then we have to streamline and then begin to work together, and maybe we prioritize the needs, or rather the problem that we want to solve per time. But this is an awareness event, and we keep creating awareness, and as we keep consolidating on our vision. I want to say once again, thank you. We hope to see you on the 1st of October, which is the Independence Day of Nigeria. It promises to be wonderful because there are also going to be panelists from different walks of life. I remain the convener and also the founder, Real Life Mathematics Initiative. I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you especially for Prof for taking over, honestly. I must say thank you, sir. I must say thank you, sir. Thank you for your humility. It's quite unquantifiable. Thank you from people from all over Africa and all over the world. I want to say a big thanks. If you also have suggestions you can make so that we can also move the vision forward, please endeavor to visit the website, the YouTube, and then move forward. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.
All right, thank you, everyone. We so much appreciate you for coming. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Hi, everyone.
Have
Thank
a
you so
lovely
much.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.